Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar today. Let me go ahead and pull up the presentation that we are going to go over. So if you guys are joining me live, make sure that you drop a hashtag live in the comments. You guys can watch this live stream on YouTube or you can watch it in today's webinar room. So today's presentation is going to be focused on how you can cut 90% of your tech stack and skyrocket your ad results and your sales conversions. So we are going to be going through one of my absolute favorite platforms, and it is called Go High Level. So you guys stay tuned for an awesome presentation that will not only explain exactly what this platform can do, but how you can make the most of it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I will enter presentation mode right now, and we'll go ahead and begin. So how you can cut 90% of your tech stack and skyrocket your ad results and sales conversions. So the marketing and the sales programs that you use are going to directly impact your revenue. Most people don't realize this, but it is absolutely true. There is more that goes into your marketing and sales than the quality of your ads or the quality of your product and service. So this new system that I'm going to go through with you today can replace 90%, if not more, of the online tools that you're currently using. And this is going to be the single most powerful solution for any small business owner or marketer. I work with business owners in dozens of industries. I work with other marketers and agencies that serve dozens of additional industries, and this program can work remarkably for any of them. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this can do to increase your sales, your customer lifetime value, your referrals, and your conversion rates. So before we dive too much deeper, I'm going to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Allie Bloyd. I'm the founder of Allie Bloyd Media, and I am an agency owner and a coach for small businesses, marketers, and other agencies. I was able to win a 2 Comma Club award from ClickFunnels for generating over $1 million in revenue through a single sales funnel. And I'm also a contributor for Social Media Examiner, Digital Marketer, Smart Marketer, and more. I'm also an author. I am a speaker and an educator, and I'm passionate about helping business owners and marketers really make the most from their paid advertising and grow their business in a predictable way. So before we really go through what the solution is, let's talk about why it is so important to have a tech stack that is actually going to work for your business and how serious the impacts can actually be. So your revenue comes from having a start to finish approach, from ad all the way through sale. So if you're looking at your marketing as just the tools and the platforms that you use for your advertising or the landing pages that you're building, you are missing out on a significant part of the customer buying process. So this is also going to come from improving your ad results. If your ads are generating leads, but they're not generating sales, you're not going to see the return on investment that you are looking for. You also want to have trackable data that you can act on. And if your programs and platforms are not providing you with that trackable data, then you are really going to be shooting in the dark when it comes to making decisions about your advertising, what stays on, what gets turned off, what is scaled up, and it's going to make it very difficult to make a significant profit from those things, especially long term. This is also going to come from saving time. So the more time that you're spending trying to piece different things together or dig to find the information that you need, that's time you're not spending inside of your business, which is ultimately going to hurt you long term. You are also going to see a significant increase in revenue from the testimonials and the referrals that you have from your happy clients or customers. And if you can leverage a system that will allow you to get more of those things easier with less time, you will see your business grow as a result. You also want to make sure that you are managing your leads effectively. If you are doing your lead management yourself, it's probably pretty apparent that you do not know exactly where every lead is at any given time. You don't know what stage of the process they're going through. And I'm confident that a lot of those leads are slipping through the cracks, which means that you are wasting the money that it took to acquire those leads. You also have to make sure that you are closing more of your leads, and having a system that will allow you to manage this effectively, track this effectively, and communicate more effectively with your leads. You're going to be able to close more of them. So your revenue, as we just said, is a direct reflection of the technical programs, or tech stack, as we call it, that you are using. And the old way that most people are actually still currently using has a lot of problems that you are probably experiencing right now. So complex, disjointed systems, trying to piece all of these individual things together, it's very complicated, and oftentimes you're not even doing it the way you want to be doing it. You also are going to deal with a lot of third-party integrations. So those integrations are going to break, and the troubleshooting to try and figure out what went wrong and how to fix it can often be very confusing as well. Digging for hours to find where your sales are actually coming from in terms of your leads, or really understanding where these leads are coming from in the first place. That is a big problem, because if you do not understand your attribution from leads or sales, you will not be able to invest more money or more time into the things that are actually producing the best results for your business. You also have no way to monitor the follow-up process. So again, if it's just you doing lead follow-up right now, then you're not necessarily monitoring that. However, if you do have salespeople or appointment setters or a receptionist or someone at the front desk who's taking calls, who is communicating directly with leads or customers, there's really no way to monitor this effectively to make sure that they're saying the things that you want them to say, or doing the things that you want them to do to make the most from those leads and to really engage with your customers in the most appropriate way. It's also going to be really, really hard to try and figure out your ROI if you cannot see where your sales originated from. That is a big, big issue with almost every business that I work with. They have no idea what it is that's producing their sales, so they don't know how to get more of them predictably. And connecting with and closing a small percentage of your leads. If you don't have a two-way communication system with the leads that you are trying to engage, you're not going to get their feedback. You're not going to know when things are wrong or when they have questions, which will ultimately lead to you potentially losing those sales. So in the past, we had many different tools to try and accomplish our technical stack, or these marketing and sales systems that we create. You'd have your landing page builder. You would have your email system. You would have a text messaging system. You'd have a CRM to manage your leads. You would have call tracking and call recording. You'd have Zapier for automations and third-party integrations to connect these different programs together. You would potentially have a calendar booking system, or maybe a payment processing system. Attribution and reporting, trying to figure out what's actually happening and where these leads are coming from. And reputation management to try and get more referrals, more reviews, and more testimonials. So all of those tools together, they need to be working together. But can you imagine, and you probably can if you're using it, how complex it is to really get all of these different types of programs working in harmony so that you can actually see every single step that a lead or prospect is going through before and after you make the sale. So back in 2015, I was the marketing director for a large home improvement and remodeling business. So I was not only responsible for all of their advertising and their lead generation, but also trying to make sure that those sales were actually closed. And it was an absolute nightmare to try and get them to all work together the way that they needed to. I spent so many hours trying to piece this together. And even though the results ultimately were able to be accomplished, the programs would often malfunction. I was missing a lot of the data that I needed, and the integrations were really, really challenging. So this was not something that happened overnight. I spent a lot of time trying to make this as effective as possible. And even when it becomes as effective as it can be, it's still not an ideal scenario. So it came time that I needed to show the sales team how they're supposed to manage and track the leads that I was generating so that I could actually see what took place after that lead came into our system or into our pipeline, and it was very, very difficult. So they couldn't wrap their head around how any of this worked, how any of it worked together, and therefore they did not actively use it. And if you are using any type of CRM or sales management system, then you know that you have to use it consistently on a daily basis in order for this to really work for your business. It needs to be tracking every single lead every single time to get accurate data. So I had a marketing team that was helping me, and they barely understood how all of this worked. Even the marketers that were very familiar with digital, it was really hard for them to wrap their head around. And so it was very, very challenging for them to try and replicate it. Or if I wasn't there and something broke, they had no idea what to do to fix it. So not only for the internal marketing team being challenging, it was also very challenging for the salespeople that were actually trying to manage and close these leads. So then for myself, I was having to dig for hours and hours just to try and pull the sales data from the POS system, try and match it up with the leads that we generated, see what types of actions I could track in between so that I could actually justify the money that we were spending on advertising and prove that they were bringing in a return on investment. So sometimes I found the information I was looking for, sometimes I couldn't, and you really have to guess in a lot of cases in terms of your advertising decisions if you cannot see everything that you need to see. So I dealt with this for several years, and ultimately I was able to make it work, but I do know that I am not necessarily everyone. I had a lot of people that tried just as hard as I did, and they really were not able to get this consistently working. So even though some people can make it work, it's really not something that most people are going to be able to figure out, especially without a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of stress. And then one day, everything changed, and I was able to finally find a system that could really do everything that I needed it to do, give me all of the data that I needed, and really house everything under one roof. And it really took the fear out of any advertising decision, because when you can actually see exactly what's driving revenue, you no longer have fear of investing in your advertising. You can confidently pour as much money as you possibly can into the channels and the campaigns and the ads that are producing your best sales. So there is a solution that will close the gap on your sales and marketing. And that's been a challenge for marketers for many, many years, because if you can't see how marketing is impacting sales, then the two are very disjointed. There is no direct correlation, when in reality, they go hand in hand. They are not isolated from one another. They have to be working in harmony. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you this platform, talk about what it can do, and also show you some of the amazing things that I would encourage you to do inside of the system to produce the best possible results. And if you guys stay till the end, I am going to show you a really, really easy way to get started with this program, learn how to use it easily and effectively. So make sure that you hang around, because I promise this is something that you're not going to want to miss. So again, this system, it does work for marketers. It works for small business owners, service-based businesses, and really everything in between. So I will say that this is not a system that was created for e-commerce companies. However, there are a lot of applications for e-commerce, and they are actually moving a Shopify integration into the system very soon. So I would say that's the only type of business that I don't typically say, yes, you should absolutely get on this program. However, we do use it in several different ways for the e-commerce businesses that we work with. So I know that you have probably already tried 100 different programs, a lot of different tools. You've tried to figure these things out already. And it's also very frustrating to constantly be hopping from program to program. You're also spending a lot of money getting on these different programs only to find out that they don't actually work for you and your business. But this is not the same. I have been one of those people that has tried just about every program and platform out there, And so I really have a lot to compare this to. And trust me when I say that even if you find that switching to a new program or platform to run your online marketing and sales systems seems really time consuming and challenging and like a lot of work, it doesn't have to be. And even if it was, it would absolutely be worth it to make the switch. So this is the platform that I highly recommend for all of you. It's called Go High Level, and this was created for small businesses, local businesses, service-based businesses, but they realized very quickly that there was a disconnect in the technical capabilities of a lot of those business owners. And so they ended up deciding to partner with marketers and agencies to help get this software out there to the businesses who needed them. So this system in one program, it includes your CRM, your email marketing, your text message marketing, your voicemail drops, inbound and outbound calling, call tracking, call recording, your calendar booking systems, product purchasing, automations and workflows. It's got direct integrations to things like Stripe and PayPal, to QuickBooks and Google Calendars. You can use a conversions API to work around the iOS 14 tracking updates and make sure that your advertising is actually reflecting what's taking place as a result of those ads. It's going to have reporting and attribution. It's got funnel builders, landing page builders, website builder directly inside of this. It's got web chat. It has memberships, so you can actually have courses and onboarding portals for customers and clients, and so much more. And it's actually a fraction of the cost of a lot of these programs. If you took all of the programs that I am showing you on the screen right now and purchased them independently, it's actually about 10 times more expensive at the end of the day. And so financially, it's a win without question. But ultimately, that's normally not what's holding people back the most. It's the fact that it seems very overwhelming to switch to something new. They're not sure if it's actually going to provide what they need it to provide. And then they're wondering, will I just have to switch again after trying to get my marketers and my sales team acquainted with this new system, start using it, and then we try another one. And all of that was lost, and people are left even more frustrated than before. So most businesses, they actually stop running their ads because they do not see a trackable ROI. If you're a marketer or agency, most clients leave because they're not seeing a trackable ROI. And that's not necessarily because they're not getting it. It's because they cannot measure it. They have no way of knowing. And if you have no way of knowing, again, you're going to be very fearful of continuing to invest in something. So a lot of business owners or even marketers would have heard things like this or said things like this themselves. You know, the leads we're getting are poor quality. We never get any of these leads on the phone. No one's responding to us. We don't see a return from our ad spend. You know, we've tried ads before. It's not working for us. And we have no way of knowing if any of our leads have actually purchased. So all of these things, they're really a result of follow-up systems, attribution systems, and really streamlined sales processes inside of your business. I've seen this time and time again. So when leads are poor quality, so to speak, there really isn't a lead that's poor quality unless they absolutely have no way of ever purchasing what it is you sell. Most of the time, it's that the leads that you're generating are not being communicated with effectively. If you can't get someone on the phone, then it could be that the people who are supposed to be calling those people are not actually calling. Maybe they call once and they never call back again. Maybe the people that you're trying to get to purchase from you are busy and your business is not the first thing on their mind every day. And so they are not always thinking about reaching out to you. So you have to have systems to pull them in and make that easier. And then a lot of times you might actually be closing those leads, but you have no way of tracking that. So you simply do not know. And you could stop running campaigns or types of advertising that actually are working for your business. And then once you stop doing that, you're going to see a decrease and you will not know why. So with this system, you are going to make more money, but you're going to see less problems. So this will help you get more bookings if you do phone call scheduling or in-person appointment scheduling. It can help you get more direct sales if you're selling a product or service directly online. It's going to help you communicate with more of your leads, a dramatic increase than anything you have ever seen before. You'll really be able to start those conversations and get to know what your leads are actually looking for on a deeper level. It's going to help you close more sales, track your conversion rates in terms of the appointments that you're actually having. What is your show up rate? What is your close rate on the appointments that show up? How many of the leads that you have convert to an appointment request? If you don't know those numbers off the top of your head, then it's because you don't have an effective way to track them. And that means that you are absolutely going to be missing out on money down the road if you're not already doing so. And this will also help you keep your finger on the sales process. So when I am looking at my ads and my sales, I know that they're both working together. And if there is something not happening on the revenue side that I want to happen, I can look back at my sales pipeline at any time. I can look back at my reporting data from our appointments, and I can look back on my ad data, and I can pinpoint with almost exact certainty where the breakdown is taking place so that I know exactly what to do to fix it. And that is the power of having something that incorporates all of your sales and marketing tools in one place. You can finally achieve that data without spending hours and hours and hours. So this system will allow you to create your social marketing system. So this is a term that I coined to really refer to that start to finish process from ad all the way to sale. Most marketers or businesses that are marketing for their company, like I mentioned, they're really only focused on the ad. Is the ad working? What's happening on the ad? They're not even necessarily tracking it through all the way to the end, and therefore they're wasting a lot of money. You need to have a social marketing system that will tie everything together to ensure that any dollar you spend on ads is going to be maximized to its fullest potential. So this is a chart that I made that really illustrates how you can use this platform with your paid ads to create this system. So I have a video on this on my YouTube channel if anybody wants to dive deeper into this specific chart, but it really shows you the ad is at the front end. This is your typical entry point. Then you're going to have different connections that send your leads to different entry points and destinations. You're then going to have other connections and other connections and other destinations and other connections and final destinations. There are a lot of steps in this process. And if you are trying to piece this process together with 9 different tools and programs like we showcased before, you are going to be living in a nightmare. Nothing is going to be flowing as it should. You're going to have a lot of hiccups. And granted, there is no perfect program out there. There are still things that you'll do wrong. There's still little issues and little errors that you'll make or that the system may make. But truthfully, no error that I've ever seen in this program has been anything that would deter me from using it. It's still 1,000 times better than anything I've ever used before. And ultimately, this company is actually one of the best I've ever seen at continuing to make upgrades, to add new features that their users want, fix any issues right away, and their support is absolutely amazing. So again, you're going to run into issues with any technical program, anything digital. You always have the ability to see some errors and glitches happen. However, is that error going to be fixed? And is that company going to do everything they can to try and help you figure out what's going on? And if it's something you're doing or something they're doing, and really try and resolve that one way or the other. So using a system that I just showed you from start to finish, it's going to set you apart, not only in your industry and from your competitors, but to your clients and customers. They're really going to be able to purchase from you or work with you in the easiest possible way, which is going to increase your revenue. So this start to finish approach can really be tracked back to this system and then the features that we are actually going to be able to use. So offers, the destinations that you're sending people to, such as your forms or your funnels or your website, those are crucial. Your follow-up after they hit that destination, after they opt in and start that process. What does that look like? Are you really cashing in on the fortune and the follow-up? The automations, making sure that when someone takes an action, what happens next is reflective of that action. So if somebody schedules an appointment, you want them to be removed from any follow-up campaigns that are directing them to schedule an appointment. You want to make sure that it's updated in your pipeline that this person scheduled an appointment. You want to make sure that they are added to those appointment reminder campaigns so they don't forget about that appointment. You want to notify that salesperson that's going to be taking that appointment, and so on and so forth. And if you don't have automations that are connected to your internal system, then those things are going to be nearly impossible to have that reflected in your sales pipeline that your staff or you yourself should be monitoring on a daily basis. Then your tracking and attribution, as we mentioned before, tracking what's happening from lead to appointment to sale, tracking what's happening from ad to lead to appointment to sale. You want to know exactly where that traffic's coming from, but also where your best quality traffic is coming from. You could have an ad campaign that's producing the most leads at the lowest cost per lead. However, that campaign may not be producing hardly any appointments. And if that's the case, if your goal is to get more appointments for your team or for yourself, that's not the campaign you want to keep putting money into. There are benefits to different styles of campaigns, such as list building, but if your goal is appointments, you need to make sure you know which ads and which campaigns are the ones that are producing those for you, or you are going to waste money on something that's not doing the thing you need it to do. That sales process and pipeline management, if you did nothing else besides effectively manage your leads in a pipeline on a regular basis, most businesses would automatically see an increase in revenue because they're simply forgetting about people. People are slipping through the cracks. They're not being followed up with. They're not being checked in on, and they're simply going somewhere else because of it. So that's crucial. And then the reporting overall, having every single thing, not only from which offers are performing best, which destinations are converting best, which follow-up campaigns are getting the most responses or bookings, which of your salespeople are actually closing the most appointments or getting the most appointments on the phone. All of those things will guide what you do next to grow your business. So you need to see all of those things. So there is a feature that addresses every part of our social marketing system in Go High Level. So we've got our forms, our surveys, memberships, and our products that really relate to your offers. You've got funnels, websites, your content through memberships, and your Google My Business integration for your destinations. You've also got email, voicemail, text, all of those things that I mentioned for follow-up. And then we also have the ability to manage that sales process through call recording, call tracking, auto dialers, your CRM, and then all the reporting you could ever need. So this program will give you that start to finish approach. And when everything is finally under one roof, you can close the loop. You can make great decisions, and you can create a predictable selling system, which should be the goal for each and every person today. So when you are using this system, there are several things that you can do to immediately increase the results of your ads. And there are a lot of different ways you can go about it depending on what types of campaigns you're running and the actions that you want people to take. But these are things that virtually every business can do inside of this system to increase the results from their ads. So obviously, you need your ads to be somewhat effective before this is really going to be able to be maximized. However, several of these things will actually improve the ads that you have running, whether or not they're amazing on their own. So the first one is going to be using the Conversions API for your event tracking and your custom audiences. If you're not really familiar with Facebook ads, this may sound a little bit foreign, but recently with the iOS 14 updates, the tracking ability of the Facebook Pixel has been significantly decreased. People now are prompted whether or not they want this app to track them. About 90% based on what we've seen so far are opting out of that. And I would say that that's actually probably on the low end for iPhone users specifically. So if you're not able to track what's happening from an ad, you're not going to be able to make good decisions on which ads you continue to run. and which ads you turn off. And there is an amazing solution for that directly in Go High Level, which has been just a godsend for a lot of us marketers who rely very heavily on our ads dashboard data to determine our next steps. So you also really want to start to leverage SMS and text message marketing with lead forms. So because of the iOS 14 issues and some of the tracking issues with your landing pages, lead forms can be an awesome way to generate leads. However, the big issue that most people see is that, man, somebody opts in through a lead form, but I can never get a hold of them. That's a poor quality lead. Well, in fact, again, it's not a poor quality lead. There's a real person on the other end of that. But the problem with lead forms is that the email address, along with the other information, is autofilled. So they can still go in and edit that information. However, they probably are not going to do that most of the time. And so their email address is usually going to be related to when they first signed up for their Facebook or Instagram account. But their phone number is almost always accurate because people have their phone number as a two-factor authentication platform or a way to log back into their account for security purposes. And so you know that that phone number is correct. Most businesses, they're relying on email follow-up to do all the heavy lifting. So if that email address is wrong, you're not going to hear from people. That's why text message follow-up after someone opts in, so you're not sending this out to people unsolicited. This is a text message follow-up that replaces email. You can still use email, just knowing that not every email is actually going to be delivered. You should also be using phone calls. That's a really big one, but text message is awesome because you can really set the stage of that conversation. You also can segment your leads with surveys and trigger links so you can make things more customized to them. You can use one-to-one marketing in a very different way. So actions-based campaigns that people are actually doing things that then dictate what happens next, so it feels more relevant and more personal to them. Also, text messaging conversation flows has been an amazing way to get more information, progress people through the system a lot faster, and then get them to that final outcome in a way that's easy for them because everyone has their phone with them virtually all of the time. And then using things like smart list campaigns with UTM parameters. We'll take a look at those in just a minute so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But these are really the best ways that I can encourage you today, if you're already using it, or very soon, if you start to use this, that you can start to see a much greater increase in the results from your paid advertising. So if you are somebody who was running ads and you saw great results or pretty good results, and you weren't so worried about iOS 14, well, you've probably seen that it's had significant impacts, not necessarily on your results as a whole, but on your ability to see where the results are coming from. Most people are running more than one campaign, more than one ad set. If you're doing that and you don't know where your best leads or your appointments or your sales are coming from, you will be stressed. You will have no way to really confidently know where your money should be focused. So the conversions API with high-level workflows, this overcomes all of that. So if you, again, are still new to something like Facebook ads, this may seem over your head, but if you're already using it, this is something you need to learn more about. I also have a video about this on my YouTube channel about how to set it up. It's like a 5-minute video. It's very quick and easy. This will actually circumvent the iOS 14 issues. It's going to directly track that data through the system and send it back to Facebook so that you are not actually reliant on the web browser to track that activity. This has been an absolute game changer recently. You can also use their source reports to confirm that data. So even with the conversions API, there is still a window of time that it takes for the system to update those results. So if you want to see things on a daily basis, if we got 8 appointments that came in today, I want to be able to look and see exactly where those appointments originated. So your source reports can give you very quick firsthand data, but you also can be sure that your ads manager dashboard will be accurate. So if you're using lead forms to text message follow-up, again, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is simply going to be leveraging your Facebook ad with the lead generation objective. You are then going to map these lead forms in high level so they're directly connected. And then anytime somebody submits a specific form, we're going to go ahead and shoot them a text. We are going to have our name at the bottom so that if you or your team calls that person in the future, it's very likely to show up on their phone as maybe Allie or maybe Allie Bloyd. That way it feels more familiar to someone and they're much more likely to answer the phone if they want to talk because they know that it's not a spam number. So this is a very, very simple way to engage your customers and get them to take that next action that you want them to take. But you cannot rely on email alone if you're going to be using this. And obviously you want to have some ads that have a great offer and that really hook people's attention to make sure you've got leads coming in at all. But once they come in, that's only where the process begins. That's not where it ends. We also use things called trigger links to really understand what people are doing and then send them in the next best campaign based on the action they're taking. So this is an example of what the triggers in high level look like. We're saying, okay, if somebody clicks this link, we're going to take them out of this campaign and add them to this campaign that's now much more appropriate based on what we know they did. That will, again, increase the results of the next steps that someone is taking from your ad because it will be tailored to their experience. This is an example of what you can do with your text message lead flows. So we have been able to see a really amazing increase in just the responses, the amount of information somebody's willing to provide to you based on text message conversations. So if you're just using one-way text message, that's a start, but it is definitely not what you need to be doing. You want people to be able to respond in a certain way and then dictate what they get next, where they go in your pipeline, and how they are progressed to your sales team. This is not that complex. I know it may seem a little overcomplicated for some of you. And if you're new to this type of thing, then this is probably not where you're going to start. But this is amazing capability that you will have the ability to tap into if you are on this program. So we also want to continue to engage our leads once they come in the system. Virtually every business should know that their customers, their prospects, their leads, they have a buying cycle. There's a length of time that people go through on average before they're likely to convert. So that's going to be a little bit different for everyone. And even within your own business, you'll have people that convert immediately. You could have people that convert 2 years down the road, but there is going to be a span of time for most people while they're still thinking about it or making a decision, or maybe they have things in their own life or business or home that they need to get in line before what you offer is the next best step for them. So we want to continue to engage these people through content while also driving them to take that next step so that at the moment when it makes the most sense for them, you will still be there. So what we want to do with this type of campaign is we want to send them to something content focused. We also want to drive them to take that next step. So this email is sending them to a video. The video is hosted on a page inside of the system. I also have a button to take them to our next steps page where they can schedule their strategy session with us. And I'm also going to use UTM parameters, which is basically just the end portion that you can add to a link to track where it's coming from. So we're actually able to tell which of these content-focused emails are producing the most scheduled calls. That way, you can start doing more of that type of email so that you can milk your pipeline and your database for every single thing that you can, because sometimes people just aren't ready. And if you let them go without continuing to nurture them, you will miss out on a tremendous amount of revenue that you could have produced and that you already spent to acquire that lead through paid traffic. So if you want the best ROI, you've got to incorporate something like this into your back end system, and you have to be able to track it. So now that we've talked a little bit about some of the marketing capabilities that you can use and some of the things I would suggest, we'll talk a little bit about sales and increasing your sales specifically with data and tracking. So your CRM, your pipeline, this is really where any person that's dealing with sales or client facing activities should be spending a lot of their time. we are able to use our pipeline stages to identify bottlenecks within the sales process. So for instance, you may start off with a pipeline that's set up in a certain way. They're completely customizable. And then over time, you may see that some of those pipeline stages are really, really long. And then some of them are very, very short. Well, the goal should be, how can we make the longer stages on the left really distribute more evenly and work their way to the right? So a new lead's on the left and a closed sale is on the far right. So the stages in between, we need to get them through those stages as effectively as possible. Anytime you see a really long stage, you should be asking yourself, what is it that is not happening when someone is at this stage of the process to get them to that next step? Do we need to have somebody manually follow up with them? Do we need to try and re-engage them in some way? Is there some sort of hitch in our process internally that's preventing people from wanting to move forward? So these are incredible insights that you can get from utilizing something like this. But again, only if you're actually using it on a daily basis, every single time with every single lead. Your call reporting is another huge, huge feature. So not only can you have multiple phone numbers for different team members, you can have those numbers forwarded, but you can also have them recorded and reported. So you'll be able to see on any given day, any given month, how many inbound or outbound calls there were, first time calls, if there were missed calls, how long those calls were, and you can actually listen to those calls to ensure that the people you have internally speaking with your leads, prospects, or customers, that they are doing the very best for them, and so that you can also help them improve if there are things that they're doing that they need to stop doing or that they could get better at. If you're not listening to those calls, you will have no way of knowing. People are never really going to volunteer the fact that they're not doing a good job on the phone. That's something you are virtually never going to hear someone say. But a lot of times they don't even know what a good job is versus what's not, unless they are a trained phone salesperson. You as a business owner need to take responsibility for helping your team improve. And the people that are actually speaking with leads and clients on the phone, these are some of the most important conversations, some of the most important roles, and you need to be able to train them in the best possible way, which can only happen if you know what's taking place. You also can use things like text keyword for trackable conversions on all different types of sales material or advertising platforms. So you could put this on a flyer. You could put this on a business card. You could put this on a billboard. You could put this anywhere that you wanted to put it. And people can text a keyword to your number that you get through the system. And you can have certain things take place as a result. So that text message follow-up we were talking about, those text message lead flows, you can really convert people in a much different way. And not everyone's going to remember a URL. Sometimes they won't remember a phone number. But again, if you've got a flyer or a business card or a billboard, even a commercial, people have always got their phone and they are very comfortable texting. So this is a great way to get additional conversions where you may not be able to track them before. This will show you where they're coming from, because you can have a different number for every medium in which you're using this strategy. So this is our billboard text line. This is our commercial text line. This is our business card or flyer text line. So you can really see which ones are producing the most. So again, you can make better decisions in where you spend your time, where you spend your money moving forward. You can also get appointment reporting. So again, see how many appointments are booked, how many were confirmed, how many showed up, the no-shows or the canceled. This is really going to allow you to reverse engineer your advertising spend. So if you have no idea how many calls you're typically scheduling or appointments and how many no-shows you're typically getting or how many people end up canceling, you're not going to be able to calculate how much you need to spend to get the number of appointments you need to get a sale that is converted. So this is crucial in reverse engineering your ad spend. Most people, they say, I have no idea how much I should spend on ads. And the truth is, there is no right or wrong answer. It is dependent on your internal numbers, your conversion rates, your ads specifically, how much the product or service that you sell costs somebody, what you profit from that, and so many other things. And so there is not a right or wrong answer, but it's also dependent on your goals. If you want to make more money, you can spend more money, but you have to be confident that what you're spending will produce a return on investment. So in my group program, we use a paid ads tracker sheet that literally tracks everything from start to finish, not only on the ad side, but on the sales side, that will then tell us how much we need to spend on a daily basis to reach the revenue goals that we have. You can also see conversation history and history of activity, which I absolutely love. So you can see every message, every phone call, inbound or outbound, every Facebook message, Instagram DM, if they have messaged you or called you through Google My Business. You can see every email they've responded to. Every single thing that a lead has ever done is going to be tracked on them as a lead. You can see how long your buying cycle length actually is by analyzing some of these. You can see the biggest questions that people have. You can see how many different things they've opted in for, or how many times they've engaged with you before they actually purchase. And that is such valuable information. Most people have this idea that someone's going to convert after engaging with their business once or maybe twice. The truth is, I have people consistently that have opted in for several different free offerings I have, whether it's a free training or a 5-day challenge or a PDF or some other type of campaign. And those things make them more confident in working with me, so they ultimately pull the trigger later on. If you don't know which of those things are really attributed to the people that are buying from you, you may miss out on a really amazing gated content offer that you should be leveraging in your advertising, but you wouldn't know it if you weren't able to track it to every single person. So here are 4 additional ways that you can win with High Level to streamline the back end of your business. And again, this system, it's completely customizable, so there's really no end to what you can do, but these are some of the things that I found that can work really, really well to make your internal processes much more effective. So client onboarding or job forms where people are, applying to work for your business. There are a lot of different things you can do here, but specifically client onboarding, you can really remove a lot of the confusion and the breakdown that happens. You can create the same onboarding forms that you've been using in other places, pull them into High Level. You can create project management pipelines. So these pipelines, you can have as many as you want. They don't have to be limited to just leads. You can then have a sales pipeline. You can have a client's pipeline where once somebody begins working with you or they buy from you for the first time, you can track that all the way through, and you can automate things at different stages. So for instance, when somebody joins my 12-month mentorship, as soon as they fill out their onboarding form, it is then triggered to their pipeline stage. We actually send them out a handwritten card. We're able to move them through the different steps to make sure that the people who are signing up for the program are actually scheduling their one-on-one strategy call, to make sure that they've gotten their consult documents and their game plan after that call, and to make sure that they're going through those stages that are going to make them a lot more successful in the program. You can do that for any type of business virtually, even a product-based business or e-commerce business. You can track the first sale to repeat sales, to upsells, to cross sells, to lots of different things. You can actually automate gifts to be sent out to people at different stages, or reviews to be requested at different stages. And it also makes it very easy for staff, because if you ever want to find out anything about a client or get a piece of information, it's all going to be in the exact same system. They can upload files. Whatever it is that you need, they can provide the information in the system so that it's attached to them directly, and that everyone that you want to have access to that can have access to that. So you are able to do custom permissions for different team members, different users. Not everyone will see the same things or be able to do the same things. But if you want somebody to be able to see all of that, they absolutely can. We also use custom values really, really heavily. So a custom value is basically just this value that you can edit in one single place, but you can use these values throughout your campaigns. And this makes updating information really quick, really easy. It makes it very fast in terms of making changes. So we do a lot of 5-day challenges. I help a lot of people with live events for their local business, and they don't want to have to go through and edit every single campaign every single time with the dates and the times and the locations, and maybe the topic changes. They don't want to have to dig through all of that. And also there's going to be things that are likely missed if they have to, or potentially somebody messes up and deletes something or changes something. So all they have to do is go in this area and update what that value represents so that everything else that uses that value will now be changed. So that's something that has been amazing for us in terms of just saving time and creating resources that my students can use and customize really, really easily. And then surveys. Surveys are a really amazing way to segment your leads and make sure that if they are a certain type of buyer or a certain avatar or a certain type of person that might like specific things, that you are sending them the things that are most relevant to them. So the same way that we talked about those action-based campaigns that we're sending people based on what they're actually doing, this ensures that you can have a one-to-one approach in your marketing and sales as opposed to a one-to-many that's not really going to feel personal to anyone. This will also allow you to take the people you've already got in your database, and maybe you never knew before who they were, what they were most interested in, what they might be a good fit for. Take everybody that's in the system and you can send them a survey and try and get them to fill that out. So they don't have to do this the moment they become a lead. They can do this after the fact and it can still work just as effectively. So this platform, it's gonna reduce the friction from start to finish. No more third-party integrations and the breaking platforms, much less expensive, like I've already covered. You've got fewer programs to log into. And so that's going to just increase the speed of the time that you or your team can work and the workflow of not having to log in and log out and go here and go there and have 1,000 tabs up at any given time. Fewer passwords to keep track of, all of your lead and client data in one place, one program to train your team members on, whether that's marketing or sales. They don't need to become experts in 9 different programs to do the best possible job. And it's got all the functionality that you need to be able to customize this to exactly what it is your business really needs. So if you've stayed this long, likely it's because your tech stack or your systems are not working yet, okay? If you want my personal help on either guiding you through the system, maybe just consulting on what your strategy should be, maybe it's getting involved in my 12-month mentorship where you get all of our account copies, all of the things we've already created to make this really fast, really, really easy. Maybe it's that you just want to check it out and grab some of my free text campaigns that come with the link whenever you give High Level a try. You'll also get a 2-week free trial so you can see what you think. But ultimately, the truth is 2 weeks, unless you're really building out your system so you can see how it works, you're most likely not going to really understand the power. And that's why I absolutely love the ability to share these account copies with my clients, with my students, so that they don't have to build it from the ground up. They can get this full account that's already strategically a good fit for their business, or maybe it's the exact same industry, the exact same type of offer, so they can start using the system as a whole really quickly instead of trying to take one piece at a time and seeing results, but maybe after a very long time because they're simply not leveraging the entire thing. So if you guys do feel like, hey, I need my marketing and sales systems completely overhauled, the things I'm using, they're not working, they are breaking, they are not effective, I have no idea where my leads or sales are coming from, then I definitely would encourage you to check out my 12-month mentorship. So this is extremely hands-on. This is where you will get every resource virtually I've ever created, not just for this program, but for my ads, for client ads, for email campaigns, text campaigns, strategies, presentations, video scripts. It doesn't matter what it is. It's all included so that there's nothing to hold you back from actually creating the things you need to create and finally having that predictable selling system that we talked about. So if you are not yet running paid ads, this is the perfect time to get set up on something like high level, because you do want to do that in the future. That is how you predictably grow your business. But if you don't have the back end systems to support that and to maximize the dollars that you're spending, you ultimately are going to lose a lot of money, and nobody wants to see that. So this is a great time to get set up if you're not yet running ads, so that you can get ads set up and working effectively from day one. If you're already running ads and you're dealing with all these issues, it's actually more important that you check this out right now, because you're probably wasting a lot of money. And if you're not getting the return, you're not only missing out on the opportunity cost, you're actually missing out on a lot of the dollars that you're investing into your ads without seeing a significant increase on the other side. So if you want to go ahead and get started with something like this, or even just check out the options, we have a lot of different options in terms of how we work with people based on what it is they need, what type of business they are, the size of their business, how hands-on or hands-off they want to be, and their budget. Then I definitely would love for you guys to talk to me. But I will say that in my 12-month program, you actually get 4 to 6 hours live with me every single week. We get on Zoom, we can go through anything that you need. We can do tech through the screen. I can take control of your screen and do anything that needs to be done, so that you don't even necessarily have to worry about it, but you know that you never again actually have to deal with this on your own. You've got somebody there anytime you need help that is going to help you work through this. So again, everything you need on the ad side, as well as the back end systems, sales processes, sales scripts, and sales calls. It really doesn't matter. It's a very comprehensive program, and we just tailor it to what you need. When you get started, we map out a game plan, so you don't have to do everything all at once. I give you first, second, third, fourth. Here are your order of operations. Here's what you need to focus on day one. Here's the strategy. Here's the offer. Here are the account copies that you want to use. Here are the ad copy and creative templates that I want you to use. So everything is as simple as it could possibly be. And then again, the tech is something that most people find very, very challenging. So I've worked with businesses for over 10 years, and most of them have been very technically challenged. Local businesses and small businesses have always been my primary focus, and they're not in the business of technology and marketing. So the other marketers that I work with, the other agencies, they definitely know a lot more on the tech side, but there's still a lot that they need help with, just as much as some of the other businesses a lot of the time. So if you have been struggling with tech, this could be the perfect opportunity to really get the hands-on support you need so you can continue to progress and grow your business. And these strategies have been proven. So my results definitely speak for themselves. Anything you guys want to know in terms of testimonials, in terms of the actual results that we produce, you can go to my website. You can check it out. I've got testimonial videos and screenshots all over the site. So this is something that has definitely been proven to work. This isn't just theory. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money on my own ads, not to mention the money that I've spent for clients on their ads and their systems. And so this is something that's really come at the cost of trial and error a lot of the time, but also I just have a passion for, trying to test new strategies and see what works and see what doesn't, see what sticks, and figure out better, more efficient ways to do things. So if you're ready to just kind of throw everything away and start with something that's actually going to be able to grow with you, then you guys can just schedule a free strategy call, no pressure whatsoever, get the info you need to at least know what the options are or the best options for you specifically. If you don't necessarily feel like a mentorship is where you need to be right now, we would just love to talk to you and help you figure out what the best next steps are. And small business owners, marketers, agency owners, if you are actively looking to grow your business or even start your business, we have a lot of people who will join the program or start working with me when they are pre-revenue. And they're doing that because they want to make revenue. But we also have businesses that are doing tens of millions of dollars a year that are in the mentorship or also that work with me in other ways. So it doesn't matter what level you are at currently. It's really about if you're hungry to get to that next step. So you can check out what we have to offer. You can check out my testimonials. You can check out all of that good stuff really simply and easily. So if you guys want to schedule a call, all you need to do is text the word high level to 502-385-3752. You guys will get a text. It'll let you schedule that call. We will follow up with you and see if there's any questions that you have before that call takes place, and really just make sure that whatever it is that you're looking for, that we are able to give you the best possible information and really just guide you on your next steps. So again, text the word high level to 502-385-3752. So what I want to do now is go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And if you guys have any questions, then I would love for you to let me know. So if you want to hop over to YouTube, if you've been watching this on the webinar presentation, you can definitely ask me those questions now. However, if you are checking out the replay later, you can still hop over to this YouTube Live and you can drop those questions below and I will absolutely answer them for you. So thank you guys for attending today. Really excited to be able to deliver this presentation to you. I will also make sure to drop a link to this program and 3 free text messaging campaigns that you guys can get. You just grab the link, you can get on your 2-week free trial. You'll get those inside of your account. I'll also have a couple of videos that will go along with that, showing you exactly how to load that and make sure that you get started and off on the right foot. So if you do want to check that program out, absolutely do it. It's something I highly encourage all of you to do. Otherwise, hopefully you guys will schedule that call and we will be speaking very soon on your strategy session or your first consult. So thanks again for being here today. Have a good one. Bye-bye.